Hey everybody, this is K. Francis Smith, lead pastor of Excel Church, and I want to welcome you to the Money Mastery Masterclass. You have tuned into a place where we can help you make, manage, and multiply your money. That's what we're here to do. We are here to get our money right, and we all know that everything we are, everything we have, everything we aspire to be has everything to do with God. So let's open up with a word of prayer. We'll get into this money mastery. Father, we honor you. We give you glory and praise. Thank you, Lord, for being our Father. And thank you for being our provider. We know that you are our source and our only source. Everyone and everything else is just a resource. We know you own the cattle on 1,000 hills. We know that the earth is yours, the fullness thereof, the land and they that dwell therein. So today, we're recognizing the fact that you've called us to be fruitful, multiply, subdue, and have dominion. You've called us to be 5-talent stewards, and today we take that responsibility seriously. I pray that we'd apply ourselves, apply your word, and give you glory for kingdom advancement in Jesus' name. Amen and amen. Listen, we are a tithing church. If you're watching this, you should be a tither. That means the first 10% of your income goes to God. We do not rob God. You want to have your finances in order. What you want to do is have your financial covenant in place with God first. Remember, the tithe belongs to the Lord. It is holy unto him. It means it's set apart. It's his. There has always been a designated portion that belongs to God. Think about it in Genesis. Even in chapters 1 and 2, he created everything, and behold, it was good. Well, he said in chapter 2, you can eat of any tree in the garden, but in the tree that's in the middle, don't eat of it. That is sacred. The day you eat of it, you will surely die. You see, that tree of the knowledge of good and evil, that was something that was sacred. That was the designated portion that belonged only to God. There has always been a designated portion that belongs to God, and we don't touch that. So the 10%, the tithe, belongs to the Lord. We set that apart. We give him his first. And then when you give your offering, that's your part. You're voluntarily giving to God. So we say it like this. The tithe is what we owe. The offering is what we sow. Let's do it one more time. The tithe is what we owe. The offering is what we sow. The tithe is not a gift. It is a return to the Lord. It belongs to him. The offering, give and it shall be given to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over shall men give unto your bosom. And the measure you meet withal, it shall be measured unto you again. So here we are in a place where we're in abundance, overflow, increase is your portion. And we're going to talk about what to do when we get it, right? So I've got this guy who's lined up. He's going to share. He is a real estate guru, but he's also a money guy. He's just a big time money guy. He does real estate. He has upwards of $1 billion in real estate, right? And just a powerful speaker. He's got a thing called 10X. I've been there personally. I've got his courses. I'm practicing some of the things that he's taught. He's been a coach of sorts for some time. He's a little bit off of my value system at times. He's a cusser, right? And he's not going to cuss today, though. We are censoring him today. So you can go ahead and check him out. But he's got great information. So chew the fish, chew the meat, spit out the bones. I am not an expert. I am not giving you advice. I am here to give you, from my experience, my learning, my expertise of myself. I'm giving you information. It's up to you to do what you want. So without further ado, we're going to look at these 10 rules to get your money right from Mr. Grant Cardone. Take us to the money, Mr. Grant Cardone.
Okay, so this is how you get your money fixed. Number one, never spend it until you get it. Okay, so like if you're in a sales department, this means, all this translates to every department, by the way. This is exactly how I run every department, how we cash flow companies, how we make decisions on when to spend money in advertising. I don't count a deal closed. I don't count money in until the money's in. Right? So until you could sign the deal and these guys are going to split a suite, I'm like, that ain't happened yet. When you guys give me a credit card and it goes through, I'm suspect of yours, sir. Okay. Once it goes through and the money hits my account, then I can spend that money. Everybody agree with that? Okay, I don't spend tomorrow's money. Number 2, 40% rule. If you could do this 40% rule that most people just completely don't get. Okay, if you got 100% of your money and 40% just for 40% goes to the IRS. Our friends over at the IR and the S. Who hates them? Say 10x if you hate the IRS. Oh my God, Democrats and Republicans come together. Okay? 40%, man, if you'll pay them 40%, you should at least pay you 40%. Everybody agree? Everybody in the room's figured out how to pay these people. They don't trust you. That's why they take it out of the check before you can get the check. The law says, I have to withhold from you. They don't trust you, man. You work for me. I have to withhold from you before you get your money. So they get their piece first. That is a good financial decision. I pay them, good. You got to pay Caesar. That's what Jesus said, pay him. Okay, and then what? Then you pay you, okay? And then you live on this. And this is where it becomes difficult. You live on the 20. And you do not change your standard of living until the 20 changes. So I don't rent the Lamborghini. Where's Cody at? Who came up in a Lamborghini the other day at my place? Where's T? Dude, that's stupid, man. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing, man? What are you doing? Okay, like it's no big deal. It's just $1,700. But you know what it says to me? Hey, I'm not disciplined with my money. I'm just saying. Like, you got to be disciplined with money. If you cheat on your money, it will cheat on you. You ignore your money, it will ignore you. If you don't take care of it, it won't take care of you. How many believe this? Okay, rich people, as much as you might not like them, yeah, their kids got drug problems, their marriage is falling apart, but people that accumulate a lot of money paid attention to the money. At least they did that part. Unfortunately, they didn't figure out the marriage, they didn't figure out the kids, but that's got nothing to do with money. That's because they didn't take the time to figure out the other games too. So look, this is the game right here. I did not change my level of living until this number changed. I've always paid the IRS. I've been audited 4 times. They can't get anything from me. 4 times. I think they got $1,500 from me on one of the audits. They'll always get something. I mean, you just throw them something. Here. Fetch. Okay? Because they got to have something. The guy's got to go back and say, look what I got. I mean, you wasted your time. 3 of them, they got nothing. Okay? And so like, this is what I'm living on. This is how I make my decisions. In the business, this is what I'm doing. I'm like, okay, 40%, if this is a business, 40% goes to the biz, to advertising, to marketing. Spend it all. Okay, I don't, if I got 3 employees and I got a business that the money's coming in, it's just running to me, okay? I'm not keeping that for me to live on. I'm keeping that for the business to live on. Feed the business, feed the beast. How many of you read the book, Be Obsessed or Be Average? It says, feed the beast. That's the beast. Feed the beast. Feed the advertising. Feed the marketing, okay? And what happens is you end up broke. You can't live down here. So what do you have to do? If you can't live on this, what do you have to do? You got to either lower your standard of living, control your standard of living, or you got to increase that 100%. So, yeah. So you know, you're not out buying Richard Mille watches and Rollses and jets and blah blah blah, and Gucci belts, and belts you can't even, you know, you got YL on your belt. That ain't your initials. What are you doing, man? Right? And you're not faking me out. It's not like you're going to fake. It's not like you're tricking somebody with your Gucci shoes. You know, no. Everybody it's not going to get you a meeting. Everybody agree with that? It's just not going to get you anything. Oh man, you look really good. Yeah. So what? What you got to say? What's your product? What's your offer? How's it solve my problem? That's all I really care about at the end of the day. Okay, number 3, if you can't write it off, this is just a great principle. If you can't write it off, don't buy it. So these are screens, they're little filters, right? It doesn't mean that I will never violate these. It means I got to have some position to start trying to live off of this. If I can't write it off, I'm not going to buy it, right? So like, what do I, also if I could write it off, I'm more inclined to buy it. Number 4, rent and lease, don't own. You don't need to own any of this stuff. Just use it. Number 5, stabilize and grow your first flow before adding a second one. Don't go work on a second flow outside of your company. Work on a second flow inside your company. How many of you have seen somebody leave? They got a second gig. I mean, this is really, people selling baseball cards now. And spending 3 hours finding something on eBay to flip. Like, what are you doing, man? You could have earned that $40 at your job that day. Like, why am I going after hours to figure a side hustle when I was in my hustle for 8 hours? Like, what? You resent where you work that much? That, I'm going to go do this other thing at night. Oh, I just made $40 and it took me 4 hours. And that's $10 an hour. The guy I worked for today paid me $28 an hour. Like, it doesn't even make sense. The math doesn't even work. But that advice is like rampant in society today. Number 6, the 47 rule. So the 47 rule is, look, if you're going to put 40 hours in at work, how many of you work 40 hours a week? Let me see if you work at least 40 hours a week. Okay? How many of you in the room work 60 hours a week? Good for you. How many work 80 hours a week? And like, you're like, how many of you complain about it too? Like, I did 100 hours this week. Quit complaining, man. You should be bragging about it. There's going to be a day where you can't work. You're going to wake up one day and say, I wish I could go to work. Nothing works anymore. So quit complaining about it. I always say, man, you bragging or complaining? Oh, man, I work 100 hours a week. I remember when I was part-time. I remember when I couldn't think big. Every super successful person that I've studied talks about 100-hour, 140-hour work weeks, 1,000-hour work weeks, burning late. Bill Gates talking about, I would grab something to eat, I would fall asleep, and I would write code. And that's all I did. I ate and I wrote code. And if I couldn't write code, I went to sleep. Think is giant and massive. Okay? When China was ripping Bill Gates off at Microsoft, okay, he says, hey, China's stealing Microsoft, not their hardware, but their software. He's like, if they're going to steal it, we want to make sure it's Microsoft. And I was like, man, the thinking's brilliant, right? It's like, if you're going to rip anything off, make sure you're ripping our product off, okay? So change your thing. 40% rule means, the 47 rule means this. I spend 40 hours working for somebody, spend at least 7 hours working on yourself every week. Hour a day. I mean, what is that? I'm going to read, okay? All these guys talk about reading books. Warren Buffett talks about reading 3 and 4 hours a day. Read. They got guys actually saying they don't read anything, bragging about it. I never read. I've never read anything. Books are for idiots. Okay, well, look, all these super successful people that built billion-dollar businesses are reading. And they got smart people around them, okay? And if you don't like reading, who doesn't like reading in a room? Yeah, well, good. So what? Billy Boy reads. Okay, you got to read, folks. You got to read. It doesn't matter if you want to do it or not. I don't like to work out either. So what? Sometimes I don't like my kids. How many of you got kids? How many? Sometimes you're like, man, jump, get off the balcony. Okay, number 7, stay broke. Stay broke. Y'all got to stay broke, man. Cash is garbage. You don't need money. You don't need cash. Cash is trash. Your mommy and daddy didn't know this. Cash is garbage. It is trash. Take it out. Use it. It is worthless until it is put to work. Okay? Listen to me. Money is worthless until it is put to work. Money is useless until it is used. It's a piece of paper. Okay? It's got God on it. Look how they tricked us. Let's put God on there, man. Okay, we'll put Ben Franklin. It wasn't God's idea to have his name on a piece of paper. Everybody agree with that? That's a pitch. Come on, man. Put Ben Franklin on this. Right? He's the president. Okay? Like he ain't my president. He dead. And then we act like it's sacred, and I got to keep it and protect it, and now it's mine. This is what Brandon was doing this morning. We're talking about currency. If you look at the word, it comes from current. Current flows. It has to be in circulation, right? It's plentiful. It's a piece of paper. It's only valuable when I take it out of my pocket, get it out of the system, and put it to work. If I give it to the bank, if I call up Wells Fargo today and say, here's $100, what are they going to do with it? They're going to convert it. Instantly convert it into digits, and then they will send it out 9 times. Almost 10x. Never lose money. Number 8, never lose money. Okay, now if I leave this $100 right here on this table, on this podium, is there a chance I'm going to lose that money? If I go buy a piece of marketing, if I say, hey, Frank, go buy me an ad on Facebook. Or, hey, ad, take a YouTube video that we did. We already got a bunch of impressions on this YouTube video. Put $100 behind that YouTube video, and let's see if we can get a couple more people to see it. Which would be more valuable? I leave this right here. How many believe if I leave this here all weekend, somebody at Turnberry will take it? Jeff? Huh? Jeff will take it. He runs the place. The Sofers will take it. The son will take it. I steal everything. This is my hotel. My daddy taught me right. Okay? Never lose money. And if you're sitting around with cash in your wall, if you're sitting around with cash, you're going to lose the money. If you leave your money in the bank, you're losing money. Everybody agree? Okay, you're going to negative rates. We will go to negative rates in America. We will go to negative rates. Germany's negative rates right now. Japan's been negative for, 3 or 4 or 5 years. We will go negative in this country. Right now, you're earning 0.0012 at the bank. You're earning 1/8 of 1%. So compound interest in the 70s, compound interest was a real thing. That does not exist today at 0.0012. You can't compound a fraction of a 1% and expect anything to happen. Okay, cash flow is what you want. You don't want cash, you want cash flow. How many investors here? How many of you invested with me? Let me see hands again. Okay, good. Did you get a check this month? Every month, 17th of the month, bang, he gets his check. What did I pay you this month?
$3,300.
$3,300.
We just did $1 million with you.
Yeah. Give him a big hand. This is the kind of guy you want to know right here. Now, Dr. Carl and I belong to the same church, and he injects stem cells in I got some knee problems, and so twice a year I go to Dallas, and he gives me an injection, and he says it works, and I cross my fingers and hopes it works. He's like, how's it working, Grant? I said, I don't know. I think it's working. I want it to work. Okay. Number 10, never quit until you achieve your goals. Your financial goals. Never give up on your financial goals until you achieve your financial goals. There's people in this room, folks, that are going to be worth billions of dollars. There's a billionaire in this room right now. I'll guarantee you. Could be 2 or 3 of them. Billionaires in the making right here. Okay? Question is, who's it going to be? Now, if somebody in this room, how many believe this? If somebody in this room made a decision, I'm going to put together $1 billion. How many believe that's possible? Everybody in the room believes it's possible. You might not think it's possible for you, but you know it's possible. Which means what? The money's available. Would you do good things with that $1 billion? Okay, you know that about yourself. You don't know about the guy sitting next to you. You know that about yourself. So you know somebody could do it, and you know if you did it, you'd do good things with it, right? So go do it, man, because the money's out there. There's plenty of it. And I grew up with a little 4'11" Italian lady that knew nothing about money. She just knew, hold on, clip coupons, save your money. How many were brought up like that? Penny saved is? Penny earned. Save for a? See, you were brought up the same way I was. Eat all your food. If you don't eat it all, save it, put it in the refrigerator. right? Some of you got food in your refrigerator right now, 3 and 4, 5 days old. You have no intention of eating it. Some of you got like an eighth of a bagel left from 5 days ago. Right now you're like, oh, it's in there right now. You got ice cream in your freezer that's like 6 months old. It's expired twice. It's got that much frost on it, but you got one bite left. I know it's still good. You tell your kids this too. You pass on the same shit to your kids. Eat all your food, eat all your food, eat all your food. And then you wonder why we got obesity problems in America. We live in a country that's rich, and the people have scarcity in their minds.
All right, now that's a big ball of information, right? That's like trying to drink water from a fire hydrant. He just blew our faces off. But let me walk through a few of these points with you real quickly. He's got 10 rules, right? 10 rules. Rule number 1, never spend it until you get it. Excuse me, that means you should never, ever, 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 ever be getting your taxes done and then go borrowing from the rush card or whatever you get. I don't even know what they do now, but borrowing from somebody before you get your return back. That's called robbing Peter to pay Paul. You don't want to do that. You want to make sure that you have it. So never spend it until you have it. Right? So stop with the layaway stuff, right? Let's be clear. If you have it, you have it. If you don't, in my Susie Orman voice, you can't afford it, right? Number 2, the 40% rule. 40% IRS, 40% you, 20% to live off of. Ooh, 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 ooh. He wants you to live off of 20%. Wowzers. Here's the challenge. What if I make $25,000? Well, you might not be able to do that, right? But you want to, that's your ideal. That's your ideal. I would say that your housing should never exceed 20% of your budget. I would say, again, your housing, that means your rent, your mortgage, should never exceed, go over, go beyond 20% of your income, all right? You don't change your standard of living, changes. Always remember this. Let's say you make $3,000 a month. You decide to go, that's your cash flow, and you have a rent, and your rent is $700. Your cash flow is no longer $3,000, it's $2,300. You don't have that other $700. Your rent does. You're a tither. Guess what? Aha. $30 is gone, right? No, 300's gone. What am I talking about? Out of 3,000, 300's gone. So now 300's gone, 700's gone. You're at 2,000. You got it? So now you're at 2,000. Now let's just say you got to have cable. That's gone. You got to have a cell phone. You can't go and get you a little, what are those phones, them little track phones or whatever they got. You can't get you a little $50 a month phone. You got to go get the one where they tell you it's $70 or it's $60, and then they add all this stuff on. Well, guess what? That comes off of it. That comes off of it. That comes off of it. That's why you need something that's fixed. If it's going to be 50, let it be 50. Don't let it be 87. You're getting robbed. Don't pay late. If you pay late, you pay what? Late fees. When you pay late fees, you hurt yourself. That comes off of your bottom line. You're never getting that back. It doesn't come back, right? So let's say now you got to go out, you got to have a car note. Here you go, fancy you. Got to have a car note. Car note's $350. Take that off. We're getting broke by the minute, right? We're becoming debt slaves. You got to go to Starbucks. You got to have coffee. Choco, moco, cafe, moco, latte, shaka, taka, chaka, laka, mama say, mama sa, mama kusa. You got to have it. You can't help it. You got to do it. Every day you got to spend $6 at Starbucks. That adds up. That's coming off of your bottom line. Stop. Just stop. You go get gas. You like Quick Trip. You got to go in there. You got to buy the big slushie. What are you doing to yourself? You are taking money. You're robbing yourself. You're robbing. Stop. Just stop with the spending. We're going to move on. You get the point. Learn to live off of less. If you can't write it off, don't buy it. Now, this is massive. This means if you don't have a business to buy things through, you're losing. He's saying you can't afford it if you don't have an LLC or even a sole proprietorship, whatever. If you don't have a business, if you're not incorporated, let me give you a clue. Your name should be incorporated. K. Francis Smith, LLC, already got it. My real government name, already got it. Your name should be incorporated. You could write me a check right now. I could put it right in my company. You can put it in my name. It doesn't matter. It can go right in my company under my EIN, not my SS. Got it? My EIN. So you've got an employer identification number. You've got a federal, it's really a federal employee, right, or employer. Look up EIN. That should be employer. It shouldn't be employee because now you're a business owner, right? So an EIN, right, either way it goes, it's an EIN, right? So you want to write it off. You get a 501c3, you can write off hotels, you can write off clothing, you can even write off real estate taxes, things like that. So it's an employer, I'm right. It's an employer identification number. So you should be employing people. That's one of the great things I love about church is it provides employment for people. Businesses are meant and designed to provide employment for people. Guess who the number one person is? It's you. You're supposed to be the employer, but you're the first employee, so you need to pay yourself. And if you don't need the money, roll it back over into the business, and you will not get taxed for it because you get a CPA and they'll work with you. All right. Plenty of write-offs out there. Plenty of write-offs out there. Rent and lease, don't own. Now, this is where I've got to rub. I've got to rub as an African-American. I've got to rub as a business owner. And I've got to rub with Grant with that because Grant owns a lot of real estate. A lot. He's got $1 billion in loans, 900-something million in loans, right? And if he doesn't have those loans and if he's not in ownership, then he's not in business, right? So I believe what Grant is saying is when it comes to your personal house, he's saying guys like him who like to move around a lot, who like to be able to move in 60 seconds, guys like him who don't like to have a lot of equity tied up in a liability, if you would, or an asset. I don't even know if you can call a single family an asset because one door, Grant would call it one door. One door is not going to bring you in any money. It's going to make you a debt slave. So Grant says if you lease it and you have it in a company, then it becomes an office, or even if you lease it as an office for your company, you get to write it off. It's a write-off, right? He's right. But we got to buy this real estate, y'all. You better own it. Let me give you a better example. Robert Kiyosaki. Play Monopoly in real life. I want to train you to play Monopoly in real life because think about it. Everywhere I just named before this, Quick Trip, you landed on their stuff, you pay them. Starbucks, you landed on their stuff, you pay them. Hotel, you landed on your stuff, their stuff, you pay them. Your landlord, think about that. If they're the landlord, what are you, the land slave? Just saying, I'm just saying, not trying to be offensive. I am not trying to be offensive, just trying to make you think a little bit. I want you to own, I want you to play Monopoly in real life. When people land on your stuff, pay me. Ha ha, pay me. Aha, pay me. Ha ha, pay me. Houses, green, pay me. Aha, hotels, red, pay me. Your little boot going around, let their little hat land on your stuff. Pay me, pay me, pay me. Use your car, put it on Turo. You want to get a nice car? Put it on Turo. Pay me, pay me. Everything you have should be paying you. If nothing's paying you and you're paying for everything, you have become a debt slave. No disrespect intended, just trying to educate. You got to do more selling than you do buying. How much selling do you do? You got to do more owning than you do leasing. I'm giving you a different thought. Grant owns too much and he knows better. He's got people leasing from him, but he's talking about personal stuff. He's talking rich man talk. The cars are leased. But when you're in Atlanta, 15,000 miles a year isn't enough. We live in Atlanta, so you got to have a kick around if you're going to do that. But it isn't bad. It's not a bad idea to lease. He's right from a rich man's perspective. On your personal stuff, own as it relates to real estate that you're going to lease to someone else. Get it? I just want to be clear because I know the way he's so out of touch with reality. He's so lofty and far gone. He doesn't realize that, man, come on, man. We're first generation wealth and riches as black people. We got to own some real estate, man. Come on. We got to own real estate. 80% of black businesses have started from real estate, but he's not studying that. He don't care about that. I care about that. The black wealth is in the black community because black people bought homes. And what they did was they took out notes. And they said, listen, I want to refinance, cash out, give me 150, 200 grand, 100 grand. I want to start a Subway. I want to start a business. I want to start a trucking company. I want to start a real estate company. I want to start a restaurant. And they took the money and they made a restaurant and then they made their money. And that's how we build legacy. Black people is through real estate. As a matter of fact, it's the same statistic in the United States with everyone, except some people get inheritances and others don't. All right, so I hope I educated you just a little bit there. All right, so let's keep it pushing. Rent and lease do not stabilize and grow your first flow before adding a second one. I believe in that. I believe that when you should master one flow, and as you master that one cash flow, that area, then you can build on it. I had a gentleman ask me, he wanted to get into real estate and some other intellectual property stuff. And I said, listen, what do you do? He said, I'm in trucking. I said, listen, if that's your A game, I want you to nail down that A game till you get to like 250 grand a year. You get to 250, then we can have another conversation. That's $5,000 a week coming into your house. Get to 250, let's have a different conversation about doing something else. And then we can add to it. Don't drop that trucking. Don't drop that cash flow. Do you know how difficult it is for people to get to that 250? Most people will never get to 5 grand a week. Say it again. Most people will never get to 5 grand a week. You get to 5 grand a week, let's have another conversation. Let's level you up into real estate, not wholesaling. Let's get you into some ownership and get you some doors or some land and some grands. All right? So let's go. 47 rule, 40 hours working for someone else, 7 hours on yourself. Work your stuff. Don't throw away the baby with the bathwater. Here's what we love to do. The Lord told me to start something, and we got to leave every dime we ever made, everything we ever committed to, and jump off the roof, bump our head on the hard concrete, and then blame God. God did not call you to be a fool. He called you to be wise. So what you want to do is make sure you're working on your stuff. We used to call it moonlighting. You do theirs, and you do yours. You do theirs, and you do yours. And you make it work, all right? Never lose money. I love that. He says always stay broke. He said cash is trash, cold-blooded stuff. He said cash is useless until you use it. Huh. He's right. He's right. Cash sitting there is not that fiat currency. Study fiat currency. Google that, study that. YouTube fiat currency, study that. Study inflation, study taxation, study market fluctuation, study depreciation, study, just study the U.S. dollar, and you'll see how much value it's lost. He said something like, we'll be in the negative, right, soon. That's a heck of a thought, but he's probably right there too. Cash is not trash. Cash is still king. Credit is queen, and you can still build a kingdom. However, this is where he's right, and this is what he meant. If you've got $10 million just sitting there, it's depreciating every minute, okay? The bank's not giving you enough interest. Well, maybe it is for $10 million. You can put it with someone like Merrill Lynch. Ooh, they'll give you some good returns there. Mutual funds, Roth IRAs, index funds, great places to put money. What Grant's talking about is when you put it in the Bank of America, Wells Fargo, SunTrust, BB&T, Truist, whatever you want to call it, right? He's talking in that sense. If you're a real investor, he's not going to call that cash. He's going to call that stocks, bonds. He's going to call that the market, right? So I want you to, there's nuances, but these are distinctions that need to be made. So when you're listening to someone like him, he's just in a different class, right? And you have to be able to decipher this stuff. That's why I'm here. I am your translator. He says, chang, chang, chang. I say, how are you today? He says, ¿Cómo se llama? I say, how are you today? You know what I mean? What's up? You know, ¿Qué pasa? I'm your translator. So what he means is this. He means your money should be working for you. Grant believes that if you have a house with $200,000 equity, you're crazy to let it sit there because that house is going to appreciate if it appreciates. So pull the money out. The house doesn't live any differently without the $200,000. Take it, put it in another investment. Let that investment make your money. Take some of it, put it here. He'll take 20, buy some more doors, or he'll take that money and buy a whole bunch of doors, and then he'll make money, put that money over there, and he's got money bursting all out of the seams. Got it? So that's what he means. He means don't let money just sit there and look at you and depreciate, because we're trying to protect our money from three things. Remember this. You're protecting your money from taxation. That's what he means. Inflation. That's what he means. You're losing it. You are, because the value goes down. Inflation. And then number three, you're protecting your money from market fluctuation. Got it? Okay, so we're going to move on. Never lose money. Ugh. Tough stuff. That's a rule. Never lose money. Guess what happens when you go to Starbucks? Guess what happens when you go to Target? You think it's funny, got more receipts than you got money. You got to have some money, and you got to have some investments. I want to see you get some hardcore investments that bring you some assets that bring you cash flow. He said it's not about cash, it's about cash flow. Big statement. Never quit until you achieve your financial. Oh yeah, he says that. You want cash flow, not cash. Keep your cash flowing. It's about how much you have coming in, not how much you got in the bank. You can sit there with $500,000 in the bank, have no flow. Every month, your net worth goes down because you got to live, right? And let me tell you, there's no such thing as debt free. Let's talk about that. You're always going to have gas. Maybe not if you got, like Kenneth Copeland, Brother Kenneth Copeland says, got more power than the power company. Got more water than the county. He's got water on his property. Power. Got more power than the power company. Got more gas than the... You can have gas. You can have water. Did you know that? You can have your own gas supply, your own water supply, your own power supply. Yes, you can. And that's how Joseph lived. You want to have that Joseph ministry. You want cash flow, though. You want your cash, to be flowing. Never quit until you achieve your goals. Don't quit. Listen, don't quit. Stay with me. Next week, we'll be back. Stay on it, doggone it. You're a winner. You're on it. You're in the right place. I want to congratulate you for being here at the Money Mastery Masterclass. You just got paid. Your level just went higher, increases your portion. And I pray that God blesses you, increases you all the more. And I pray that every place the soles of your feet touch will become yours. Go for it all. If you're going to dream it all, dream really, really big. Go for it all. Swing for the fence. And if you don't get over the fence, run all the bases and get an inside the park home run. All right, I love you. God bless you. And I pray that everything your hands touch becomes a massive success, that your dreams will become a reality, and that you'd live your life on purpose. Let's go. See you next week. Take care.